All right, I got a really cool product that I think you guys are gonna like, but honestly, this was something that when I first saw this or sent to me by my buddy Jason over at Ripped by Rosenblatt, squatharness.com, covered a lot of his stuff in the past. Consider him a friend of the channel, but he knows I'm always honest, and sometimes I think he knows me more than I know myself, because he kept telling me, I think you really would like this thing. When I first saw it, I'm like, I don't know if I'd really use it. It seems like it might just take up space. I'm a big believer now in really only picking up things and using things you're gonna use. But with that said, it's always good to get some new toys, to try it out, test the waters, and you never know, you might like it. So when I first saw this thing, it looked like a basic roller. And I say basic, but really there's not many things like this. This is kind of a one-of-the-kind product on the market. There is something that is longer, it looks very familiar to people, that does something very similar. What Jason did is essentially cut this thing in half. And years ago, as a side point, one of the first products I was gonna bring in the market that was a home fitness product was a type of versatile roller. I'll just kind of leave it at that in case you ever make it. But I think what Jason did here with just a straight forward and back mechanism of this roller is great in a number of ways, and I'm going to show you guys that. But specifically what he did in this one, because this thing is a version 2, and if I didn't say this already, this was sent me free for review, totally honest review. I'm going to go over that here in a second. You can save some money using Hybrid 20, but I'm going to be bluntly honest here. It is a little pricey because you can buy 1 or 2 like I'm using here. But what is unique about this product is that you can remove this centerpiece. I think he had one initially where you could not. Being able to remove this is a big quality of life feature. I'll give you guys some zoomed in shots here, but you can see the mechanism and design is pretty simplistic. You got some rollerblade wheels going on here. It is fairly heavy. In fact, when I picked it up from the post office, the woman behind the counter thought it was some sort of heavy weights. Now, he did actually throw in some other stuff, which I'll feature probably later, some suspension trainers, some add-on attachments to a squat harness, which I used a little bit, this little hook mechanism that actually did work out really well as a side point. But all that to say, these things are pretty heavy. It comes with these little kind of foam rubber end caps that you can put on the end. One kind of comes already on the bar. I'm just gonna be taking these things off and not using the foam, to be honest, so I can just easily slip these things on and off. But also, as an aside, this looks like just a 1-inch diameter hole, so I actually picked up my Total Gym weight bar attachment, and I can actually join both these units together if you had a longer bar that would go across that. So that's something I probably would take advantage of as well. And I'd probably encourage Jason to pick up something like this. Maybe he can add this in, because I think you can join them together, makes a lot of other options to it. Now, the reason I reached out to Jason to want to do this review is really on necessity, because I was using this ab wheel, which I think I reviewed in a past video. This is actually the best selling ab wheel on Amazon, which actually says a lot. I'll link it down below. You guys probably don't see this one because it's inside, also too because I haven't been using it as much. As we're getting to spring, summer, I'm starting to do a lot more abdominal work. I love the ab wheel. The problem with the ab wheel though is as you start doing it, if you haven't done it for a while, you can get incredibly sore and you can't get many quality reps a few days after. It's actually kind of shocking as far, at least for me, when you haven't done it in a while, how much it really rips up your abs. So I wanted something with some assistance, so I started throwing some resistance bands and kind of rigging them around the handles here, and you can kind of do it, but it is not ideal. And that's what made me think about Jason's product here, because immediately I thought, well, I actually sent him a message and said, can you actually attach bands on this? And I'm like, it's kind of a stupid question because I knew you could, but yes, you definitely can, especially if you watch his website. He actually does sell his own bands here. Here's his squat harness. Actually, I was just playing with this earlier with his new attachment. Jason's products are actually meant to kind of build and work together by design, and he makes these resistance bands. I've covered these these loop bands that if something does happen, they're gonna rip or something, they're basically not gonna snap back, hit you in the face. And also this fabric helps protect them, so you can just throw it around any kind of surface. And initially, you'll see in the review, I was just using 30-inch, I think there's a 32-inch series steels. I messed around with a variety of dimensions until I realized I forgot I had Jason's loop bands. So these are actually also really cool. So you can loop these bands, not just in the back, but also the front. So if you loop them in the back, it can give you some assistance on those ab rollers. So in case maybe you can't get all the way out, or you want to get some more repetitions out of it, or like I said earlier, if you get pretty sore from the previous sessions, but you still want to get some extra work done, this is also another option. But if you want to take it up a notch, actually Jason told me he likes this the best. He puts the bands around the outside. This way you can kind of do these kind of forced crunches. It's kind of deceiving and kind of weird to kind of show you, but you can do these kind of little mini forced crunches, or you can do these kind of crunches and like a lat pull down. There's actually a number of creative things you guys can actually do with just the ab mechanism alone. But primarily that's why I really wanted to use these. And of course, you can go 2 at a time. You can do the basic ab roll with no weight, and that's kind of deceiving. And I actually do like the way it kind of rolls in a straight line. The other great feature about these rollers is because since they are so heavy, I never had any issue with instability where I felt like the roller was going to topple one way or the other or flip one way or the other because of the band tension. Then the other thing you can do, of course, if you're using 2 rollers, really opens up a lot of doors for things such as hamstring curls, mountain climbers. I was doing abdominal pikes. Of course, you can even make some resistance on these as well. So doing things like resisted hamstring curls are tough. And even though Jason actually said this, if this was one solid unit, they would stay more in a straight line. So he said sometimes you have to kind of recenter them. I really didn't have that issue. You might have to do something, at least initially, to kind of recenter them. But I actually found myself just getting a little more of a stable position and just really focusing on that flexion and extension at the knee to keep the ab wheels from not kind of deviating one way or the other. But because they're such a solid base, I find that that wasn't really an issue. I dabbled into it a little bit. I'm gonna probably play with it some more, but you can do some crazy push-up variations, some little flies, even if you just simply go on your knees. That's also really tough. And then I just forgot how good it felt to do drop step lunges, lateral lunges, or you can say reverse lunges with rollers. I remember when I used to go to the gyms, I would use those little scooter wheel cart thingamajigs and would play around with those a lot. So these can get really challenging. I also particularly like the range of motion these offer, because when you're using the wheels, you find like you can really kind of stretch yourself out and then drag it in. I like the wheels because if you're doing a lateral or drop step lunge, not only can you get deeper into a stretch, but you find yourself kind of less cheating from just say pushing off with the knee than you would if you were taking a drop step or a lateral step out one way or the other. So this way I do a deep stretch. I'm focusing on that leg that is flexed, and I kind of pull myself in, dragging my leg in through using my adductors. So in wrapping up, would I recommend these things? These are definitely in that area of kind of maybe a luxury buy because they are on the pricier side. They're definitely heavier metal. One does cost $99. You get 2 for a little more discount of $179. Again, shameless plug, Hybrid 20 saves you 20% off that purchase. I think it's free shipping too. But if you know you're not gonna use these exercises, then yeah, these are definitely not gonna be worth it. Specifically for me, what I really liked about these was the ability to anchor bands for the ab roller. So I know this is something I'm gonna be using in the future. I'll see as time goes on how much I will grab these things in reality to do things like drop step lunges or some wheel variety of exercises. I think hamstring curls are something else I could see myself doing. But the big question to ask yourself is, are you gonna take that extra step, kind of jerry-rigging some of these bands or situations to kind of make these things work? That's gonna be up to you. Any questions, comments, feedback, guys, let me know, and I will see you on the next video.